This is Throwback Thursday. We're revisiting a video that I shot actually end of April in 2022. I'm touring a bunch of lighthouses along the western coast, having a great time doing that. We're going to get right into it. And I also talk about leveling jacks and the problems that I was having then. I'll try and remember to link to the video here where I had an epic fail in June when I was in northern Nevada this year. So before we get into the video, if you think you're subscribed, double check to make sure you still are. And if you haven't subscribed already, why not? You're here watching the video. Likes are always appreciated and they don't cost you anything. And I love reading your comments. So let's get right into it. Roll the intro. I'm doing a little bit better in terms of getting out at a reasonable hour, except that this morning I had this horrible screeching noise when I was bringing my slide in. So it took me a little while to figure out what was going on there. At first I thought it just needed to be lubed, but then it did need to be lubed. But then I also realized that the repair that I had made to one of the trim pieces on the interior was dragging on the floor, and that's what was making the horrible screeching noise. So I removed that. I'll deal with it later. Got it in. Everything's fine there. I heard a noise when I pulled into that site last night at the visitor center. Didn't identify what it was until I went to put my jacks up this morning, and then I realized that my left rear jack snap pad had come off and torn. So I'm not super happy with the jack pads in this arrangement. I guess better to have them be sacrificial than the actual levelers themselves. When I had the leveling system installed, I questioned how low it was in the back, and they assured me it was fine. But even just on like normal driveways and stuff, I have to ease in and out super slow to make sure that I'm not dragging anything. So I'm not real thrilled with that, although I love the automatic leveling feature. Not quite sure what to do, but we'll get that figured out. So we're traveling through Gold Beach right now, and we are heading for Cape Blanco Lighthouse for our first stop today. Got a couple of stops planned. Mostly we're doing a lighthouse coast tour today. Not sure where we're going to wind up yet, but I'm thinking maybe Florence. We'll see. I had a friend that had been looking at buying some kind of business here in Gold Beach a couple years ago. Wonder if she ever did it. Oh, it looks like we're leaving Gold Beach behind. Really pretty bridge up ahead here. Let's see if we can get a look at that. And then we've got about 30 miles to go to get to Cape Blanco. Well, I guess the look that we're going to get at it is going to be from the top, because we're about to go over it. Had pretty arches from underneath. This is certainly much easier to traverse than the Fern Bridge from a couple of days ago, where these concrete barrier walls were like right on the white line. I don't know why having the sidewalk between the white line and the barriers makes it feel so much wider, because it really is not that much wider. It is a little wider. But it definitely makes it feel more spacious. Well, another beautiful view of the Oregon coast. We still got quite a ways to go to get to the Cape Blanco Lighthouse, but I'm really enjoying these views. Wow, looks like we've got a bunch of people camped there for extended periods. Interesting. I have seen several more turnouts that do not have any markings and might be a possible place to overnight. So I'm hopeful I'll find something nice for tonight. My fallback position, I think, is Three Rivers Casino in Florence. I also looked at the map and realized that when I get up to Fort Stevens in the middle of May, that's going to be like the very northwestern tip of Oregon. So I'd definitely be seeing some stuff there that I've never seen before. back, I came down the coast road. Might have done the coast road in both directions, can't remember. But it's definitely a different kind of trip now. You know, I'm not in a big hurry to pound out 400 or 500 miles in a day at the risk of not seeing stuff. So what I used to do before was I would pick like one thing to do during a 500-mile day drive, and I kind of use that to break up the driving a little bit, but I typically would not spend more than an hour doing that kind of thing. The way I'm traveling now, I'm typically spending maybe 2 hours of actual drive time, which is very cool. Well, look at that. That rock straight ahead of us out there is what we were looking at from the bottom of this hill a little while ago. That's pretty. We're entering Port Orford, which is the oldest town site on the Oregon coast. This is a cool view to come through, and that's the turn off for the campground. And there's the lighthouse. So I'm guessing this is the parking for the lighthouse coming up straight ahead of us here. Cool beans. Awesome sauce. Let me see if this is going to require money. Look at that view. Way up there is the Cape Blanco Lighthouse. But take a look at this coastline. And it's out on a point, so there's actually ocean on the other side of us as well. Well, you can see a little bit of it through there. It's quite breezy and quite chilly today, but we're going to go walk all the way up to the lighthouse and take a look and see what we can see. We are here at Cape Blanco Lighthouse. Really fascinating story about this overall. I just did the tour. It cost me $2, worth every penny. Great docents, one for the Welcome Center, which is back behind me. I'll show you in a minute. This is the lighthouse itself. So I learned, among other things, that the windows up above have handles on them because sometimes they had to clean the outside of the windows and they would have to hang on to the handles to avoid being blown away in the high winds. There's also a curtain way up there, which I don't know if you can see or not, and the curtain is there because it's a prismatic lens, and the prism could ignite a fire. So, looking out here, treacherous rocks, 2 different reefs, pretty fascinating way to live back in the 1800s and 1900s. And in fact, there was a female keeper here, 1903 to 1905, because her husband died, and she was able to take over as the keeper for a couple of years. And then after that, she went and got a job at a lighthouse in Washington, and then ultimately retired and went to live in Portland near her family, her kids. Beautiful views. Over here, we have an antenna array, still in use by the Coast Guard and the FAA, actually. And then on the other side of this building, we've got a welcome center. So really nice stop. It's about 6 miles off of the 101, but I think it's totally worth doing. So I'd recommend, if you have the opportunity, give it a look. The people here are really nice. And of course, both of the docents are also full-time RVers, so that's pretty fun. And then, let's see over here. There we go, that's a good view right there. They got a pump in 1911, so they no longer had to carry the oil for the lens up 64 stairs, 5 gallons at a time, 8 times a night. And they got electrified in 1936. So pretty cool. Oh, other things I didn't know about lighthouses that I learned here today. Every lighthouse has a unique signature, both in the way that it is painted on the outside and in the way that its light moves. So there's a shield for the light, and it varies from one lighthouse to the next. Every one is absolutely unique. I think they said that this one is 1.8 seconds of light and 18 seconds of eclipse. And that's how the ships can tell, even if all their other systems go down, ships can still tell where they are by the signature of the lighthouse, either visually during the day or by the light signature at night. So there you go. It was a fun place to visit. Don't miss it.